So, Boris Johnson has just held a press conference addressing us in the UK. Never seen anything like this before in my life. Don't think I'll ever see anything like it again. I don't think anyone alive currently today has ever seen anything like this before. Not during wartime. I think there's things like this going on across Europe. I think other countries have implemented measures similar to this, but for this to happen in the UK is massive. You've probably heard about this by now. I don't know, but I'm kind of speaking to people who are working in the UK or own companies in the UK. If you haven't seen the news by now, if you haven't had a ping on your phone. So Boris has just held a press conference with his Chancellor where he's told all cafes, pubs, clubs, restaurants, nightclubs, theatres, gyms, cinemas and leisure centres across the UK to close from tonight until further notice. That's unprecedented. That's huge. That's going to cripple the UK. It's going to cripple. Imagine every single one of those businesses. Imagine how many of them there are across the UK. They're all shutting down. That is devastating. He's told everyone in the UK to stay home. Businesses are closing. Businesses are now stopping. They're stopping their operations and they're now deciding what to do with workers. The UK economy, just like every other, we're not special, just like every other economy, is going into meltdown. It is collapsing. It's folding right underneath us. And the government has had to step in. So what they've just announced is the government has promised that they will cover 80% of the salary of retained workers up to £2,500 per month. This has never, ever been done before. The government is saying to all employers, small or large, charitable or non-profit, if you are considering or you're having to lay off or fire staff, do not do it. We will pay their wages up to 80%, up to a value of £2,500 per month per employee. The government is stepping in and essentially part nationalising the private sector. There isn't a word for what's going on right now. This is mental. The government, just reading statements here off news websites, the Chancellor said the government will pick up most of the wages of workers in the UK. Rishi Sunak, who's the Chancellor of the Exchequer, today I can announce that in the first time in our history, the government is going to step in and help pay people's wages. We're setting up a virus job retention scheme. Any employer in the country, small or large, charitable or non-profit, will be eligible for the scheme. Government grants will cover 80% of the salary of retained workers up to a total of £2,500 per month. That's just above the median income. Now, some will argue it's possibly too late because a lot of companies have fired a lot of staff already. And to counter that, they've offered a very minimal £1,000 per year increase on tax credit that people are entitled to, which is barely anything, unfortunately. But this is a huge panic move from the government to try and save the economy because it's going to melt down. They've also deferred all VAT, which is our sales tax. That's being essentially scrapped for the next quarter. I don't recall ever happening before. That's happening. I'm stunned, absolutely stunned. Self-assessment payments for self-employed is being deferred until 2021. The self-employed are being entitled to statutory sick pay. So if you're self-employed, you are now entitled to statutory sick pay, probably up to a very minimal amount, which won't cover much, but it's something. So if you catch the virus and you have to stop working, then you're entitled to sick pay. The amount of, just obviously, you can probably tell by now that there's been a press conference, there's been an unprecedented amount of guarantees and measures announced by the government. Go and read this for yourself. If you're in business, you own a business, and you've got no idea that this is happening, please go and look, because this is massive. If you're thinking about laying off staff, go and look at this, because there are grants now available where the government will cover the cost of the wages of your employees up to a certain value to save you having to fire people, because the country is about to collapse if they don't do this. So that's what I wanted to say, really. just absorb that in. The government is paying people's wages. Never heard anything like this before. But it's good to see that our lot are trying to do something, even if it's a little bit too late for a lot of people. We're trying to do something about it. Because a lot of companies are really panicking now. People aren't going out and about. They're not spending money in businesses. Businesses are having to close, laying people off. Those people who are being laid off need jobs. There are no jobs for those people to get. Those people are now having to feed off of the government. So the government having to try and save their jobs. It's a kind of vicious circle, really, on a scale never seen before. So, wow, absolute wow. So if you're in the UK, check out that announcement. I'll put a link in the description to the Sky News article, which is given like a timeline of what happened. I don't know how long that'll stay there for, but I'll put that in there. So go check that out, please. See you later.